This episode, it does not have an interview. I am going to be sharing with all of you some thoughts that I have as we walk into a new year. These are actually things that we could be paying attention to at any time. But a new year, you start thinking about patterns, habits, what's working and what's not. So I have noticed for a long time, especially though over the past couple of years, that as small business owners and sales people, which every small business owner is a salesperson, we have a tendency to continue to do things that don't work. And when I say they don't work, what I mean is they aren't getting us the results that we're looking for. And I think about this and I wonder, what is it about us that we do these things? One of the areas where I see this happen a lot is in the sales process. So we go to networking events now that we're back out in the public realm. We'll go to networking events where we will engage in behaviors that don't get us what we're looking for. So, for example, there's people who will go networking with a goal of gaining a client, and yet they will leave without one. Do they stop and think to themselves, okay, what am I doing? What is the behavior that I'm engaging in? And maybe I should change it because it's not getting me to goal. I don't think so, because they keep going to networking events and behaving in exactly the same way. So the first thing I'm going to say is going to a networking event, your goal should never be to get a client, because you're not going to. And you miss out on all the other people who are there who could potentially be significant in your business world. So let's pick a different decision. Let's pick a different goal. The goal of networking should be to get to know people, to learn about them, to identify how they might fit into your world, right? They might be resources. They might be referral partners. They might be business friends. They might end up being clients. But until you go through the process, you just don't know. Now, if that's the goal, then what should the behavior be? So then the behavior is to learn, to ask questions, to listen to the answers. It isn't to talk. It isn't to hand out the business card. It isn't to try and persuade or convince. It isn't to spend the entire time looking for who might be a potential client. So do you see what I'm saying? First of all, that didn't work. So we have to ask ourselves, why am I still doing it? If this is something that you've been doing, my ask of you is to take a look at your business and think about your goals. And if there are goals that you are not achieving, ask yourself the question, what am I doing that isn't working? Because whatever you're doing isn't working. It's not getting you to goal. So it needs to be changed. We have opportunities at every single point in time in our business to change our behaviors so that we get to our goals. The key is we have to pay attention. We have to actually stop and look and say, okay, hang on a second. And all too often, we don't really spend the time thinking about and really digging in and saying, okay, this is my goal. Am I achieving it? Am I getting there? Yes, great. I want to keep doing what I've been doing. No, okay, I need to rethink what I've been doing because it's not getting me there. And it's not just in the sales process. It's in, it could be in creating content. It could be in our marketing efforts for those who have employees. It could be in our hiring. If we have a revolving door in our company, so we're hiring and people aren't staying, that's an indication that whatever we're doing isn't working. We're getting them in, so that's working, potentially. But once they're in, they're not staying. So, is there something going on in our organization that isn't tracking with what their expectation is? Or are our hiring practices not effective enough to get us the people who then will stay? It's one or the other. Okay. So, do we have expectations of the people? Do we have people, working for us where we have expectations and they're not meeting them? Then there's something we're not doing effectively to ensure that those people are meeting our expectations. There's a good chance that we, A, aren't sharing what our expectations are, B, have not shared what the consequences of hitting those expectations or not hitting those expectations are, and C, we're probably not following through. So let's say we're very clear. We say, these are the expectations, these are the consequences. If we don't follow through on that, what they hear is, it doesn't matter what I do. Okay. These are all areas, if we're not growing the way we want to be growing, if we are hearing about customer service issues, then there's something we are doing that isn't working, or there is something we are not doing as a company that we should be doing. So we owe it to ourselves, our clients, our employees, our vendors. Like, we owe it to everybody, to the people we network with, to stop and take a look at what are we trying to achieve in each area of our business. Are we achieving it? If yes, great. I want to continue, maybe ramp up those things that I'm doing. If we're not achieving it, what are we doing that isn't working? And then we have to be open to changing those behaviors and monitoring the change to see if it makes a difference. For those of you who know me, you know I am a huge proponent of not selling, because I firmly believe it doesn't work. And all of those behaviors that go into selling actually work against us. And I am consistently amazed at people who will engage in behaviors that don't work. They know they're not getting to their goal, and yet they keep engaging in those behaviors. So let's talk about some examples. Connecting with someone on LinkedIn and then trying to sell them your product or service. I have to imagine that that works. If it works at all, it works rarely. And yet people do it. Now, why do we do it? Someone told us it was a good idea. We took a webinar, and that was the suggestion that we engage in that process. It's easier and less personally threatening than picking up a phone and calling someone and starting the process of getting to know them. We think it's a numbers game. Okay. Is it a numbers game? Sure. To some degree, it is. But let's go through the process. What is the goal? The goal is to gain clients. Okay. What is needed for that to happen? Well, the first thing is we have to know who our target is. We have to know the problem that we solve for them. And then we have to learn about them. Because the big thing we don't know is whether they have the problem that we can solve. We don't know whether they have a need, a desire, whatever it is, for what we have to offer. So our next focus should be on learning, not telling. If you are someone who has been in the habit of believing that all you have to do is tell people or companies in your target market how you can help them, and they therefore should want to buy from you, I'm going to ask you to look at your results. If you are engaging in that behavior, how often is that turning into a sale, a good sale, a long-term sale, a profitable sale? Answer that question. And even let me know. I'd be curious to know if that's something that is working well for you, if you're getting repeat business from them, if you're getting long-term business from them, and if you're getting enough business overall. And if the answer is not really, or no, or it doesn't seem to be working at all, or people are ghosting me, I'm not hearing back from them, they're just, not responding at all, that's an indication that you probably want to change your tactics. So what would that change look like? It would look like doing as much research as you can on that prospect. Learn as much as you can about them, the goals, initiatives, whatever's out there. And, with the internet, there's a lot of information out there. You can even learn what their favorite color is. Who knows what they put on their company website that humanizes them. And then when you do outreach, your outreach is to have a conversation, not to make a sale. Let's get sales totally out of our head. Because the one thing we know is how much we don't know. We don't know whether they have a need. We don't know whether they can afford it. We don't know whether they want to engage. We don't know whether they're really difficult to work with. There are so many things we don't know. So really our job is to learn, is to find out, is to explore, is to find out as much as we can. So if we go in with the goal of just having a conversation and we've learned things about them that we can include in that outreach, what we're telling them is, A, I'm not going to try and sell you anything, which frankly you could even say out loud. B, you've done enough research about them that you obviously are interested in learning about them specifically. You're not just fishing, not just sending out, form letters. And you might be someone they might want to know. When we approach with that mindset, with that belief system, I submit to you, it is easier to engage in that process because it's less scary, it's less threatening, it's less uncomfortable. We are more open to learning about who does and doesn't fit with our values and our philosophy and our way of working. We have really great conversations with people where we learn an awful lot about them, and they may not turn into clients, but they might turn into referral partners or really great resources that we can share with our other connections. We just don't know. So it's a wide open world. There are so many opportunities that when we think solely about selling, we limit ourselves and we limit the opportunities available to us to grow our business in every sense of the word. So this is one very specific example of, it's the same goal, essentially. It's growing our business. It's gaining clients. It's taking a look at what are we doing to get there, and is it working? And if it's not, how do we change it? What do we change it to? Okay. My hope is that you take this to heart, that you give it some thought, you take some time to really do an honest evaluation of What's been working for you? What hasn't been working for you? Are there things that you haven't been doing because they feel uncomfortable and they feel like you're really not going to gel with them? Then you know what? Don't do them. Your stomach, your mind is telling you that's not the right road to go down. It's not going to work. What can you be doing where you are in your complete essence, where it is you? That's what's going to resonate with people. And you being open to learning will identify who resonates with you back. So give it a shot, right? You have nothing to lose. You may find out that everything you're doing is working. Quite frankly, if you're growing the way that you want to grow and you have employees and everything's great and life is grand, you're doing everything well. You don't need to engage in this. This is really a conversation for people who things might not be going the way exactly that you want them to. You owe it to yourself to take a look at, instead of looking at them and saying, what are they doing or not doing? Take a look at your decisions, what you are doing or not doing. What policies and procedures you have in place that are not working. What ones don't you have that you probably need? And you know what? If you need help with it, there's plenty of people out there. You know, it's what I do, but there's plenty of people out there who that's what they do. And they are there to help you solve those problems. I'm happy to talk with you about it. You know, no obligation, complimentary, 30 minutes phone conversation. If I can help you, I will. But believe me, there's plenty of people out there who can help you with this. And you owe it to your business and yourself to adopt different practices. It's not changing your goal. It's leaving your goal where it is and adopting practices that will help you get where it is you are trying to go. I wish you much success, happiness, and great decision-making as you navigate moving forward with your business and working toward your business goals.